was with me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, we will move on to agenda item 5.01, district update, and I'll hand it over to Ms. Kim Whitworth.
Thank you to the community for the comments tonight. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with everybody, and I want to start with a huge thank you to the Y. We appreciate this partnership so much, and we also know how much it means to students. And
you cut me off. What a hello.
Chris, you need to mute yourself, please. To students, staff, and families. Monroe School District celebrates people, and today I want to celebrate our transportation staff. We have 43 commercial drivers licensed. We have 3 non-CDL van drivers, 3 mechanics, 2 router dispatch people, 1 driver trainer, and 1 department support. We know how much they put in over our snow days and every single day, and I want to just make sure that we are recognizing and highlighting. One of the things that Mike Burt shared with me was a day in the life. So depending on the route, drivers arrive at work anytime between 5:30 and 6:30. Each driver conducts an extensive pre-trip safety inspection on their bus before leaving for the morning route. Morning high school, middle school routes for much of the year are driven in the dark, which can be challenging given our many rural routes. After completing the high school, middle school route, drivers will either roll right into an elementary route or have a short 10 to 15 minute layover. After completing both routes, drivers arrive back at the transportation lot anytime between 9 and 9:30. Some drivers have additional midday routes, preschool, snow aisle, ROTC, academic field trips, etc., or tasks, bus washing and fueling. But the majority of our drivers work a split shift schedule. Drivers arrive back at the transportation lot around 1:30 and repeat the morning runs, finishing their day between 4 and 5. Some will supplement their day with a sports field trip that can extend their day well into the night. One segment of a driver's route will average between 15 and 30 miles, and repeated 4 times a day has them traveling anywhere from 60 to 120 miles each day. Drivers are constantly challenged by our ever-changing weather conditions, traffic, COVID protocols, and a variety of in-the-moment requests thrown at them. The resourcefulness, professionalism, extreme focus on safety, and willingness to help one another are key ingredients to the success of the department. With all of these challenges, the relationships they build with the students they serve make it all worth it. Here are some of the highlights from this year. With reduced driver resources of approximately 20% and ongoing COVID impacts, we have still been able to cover every route and trip, academic and sports, with creative problem solving and dedicated staff. In November, the Transportation Department donated $2,313 to the Monroe School Foundation. Tyler Drive, turn-by-turn navigation tablet. Prior to COVID, we were preparing to launch a pilot program for the new tablet. We are now working on plans to continue launching this very important driver direction aid. Our December food drive resulted in 1,384 pounds of food donated to the Sky Valley Food Bank. We also collected toys and clothes in a December toy and coat, gloves, sock, hat drive. I would like you all to join me in thanking our drivers. Please say hello to them. Please tell them thank you and wish them safe travels. One of the things that we had committed to at the beginning of this year was to provide some tutoring service for our secondary students. The board generously provided an extra amount of funding to our learning and teaching department. And we are contracting right now with tutor.com, which will provide 24/7 digital tutoring services for our 612 students. We hope to expand this to elementary school if we have identified a need and our educators believe it will be something that can support our elementary students. When students use this service, they'll be able to receive live tutoring from an actual person in an audio or chat-based format. With tutor.com, students can receive services in either English or Spanish on any of the content subjects needed. The tutors are trained in tutoring methods to support student learning and will not just be a get the answer service. Additionally, tutor.com has a writing lab where students can submit writing samples and receive back an edited version of their writing and suggestions for improvement. When students log into the service, they answer a few questions to get partnered with the correct tutor, language, subject, etc. After a short wait time, typically 2 to 4 minutes, students can start the tutoring session with their tutor. The platform allows for students to chat or use audio to interact with the tutor, as well as load sample problems, text, or graphs that may be needed during the tutoring time. We are going to be offering this service to 6th to 12th grade students at first. We're hoping to have the service up and ready to use by the start of second semester. In the next few weeks, we'll be preparing and sending out information to families, schools, and teachers on how students can use and access this service. Another commitment that we have made is to promote and amplify student voice. We committed to setting up a system so we can hear what students are saying they need and to get their input on what we can do to improve. We're looking at what different districts have done in this area, and we will continue to update you on what we'll be doing here in Monroe. We are also going to reach out to our recently graduated group of students from the Monroe Inclusion Collective to hear how they are doing now and to hear more about their experiences in the Monroe School District. We believe strongly in partnering with our community, and part of being good partners is to listen. We have heard that there are concerns about the inclusion of students with IEPs in our safety plans. David Parator, Chief Student Service Officer, has an update on that issue.
Thank you, Kim. And this has actually been ongoing for the last couple of years, and the parent has brought this up in numerous public comments. And so one of the things that we've done since before the holiday was, first of all, reaching out to all of our building administrators to make sure when they are building their school safety plans that they're talking with their IEP teams and thinking about individual student needs for the various drills that they do and be able to practice those. I also then, when we came back from the holiday break, reached out to all of our special education teachers and staff with a similar message to be having those conversations. Joy Castillo, who's our special education coordinator, and myself have started meeting with school teams now to talk about kind of where they're at as far as their considerations for students with IEPs during these drills, and then actually in case of an emergency. One of the things, and last week we met with 2 teams, and one of those teams also had parents involved in it as well, so getting input from not just teachers and paraeducators, but parents, and so we can find out how our decisions are going to be impacting the students that we serve. One of the things that Joy and I really realized very quickly was the IEP teams are having these conversations for their students internally. And so they are having those considerations, and they think through and problem solve, and it was really quite remarkable for the things that they considered that are needed for students. One of the gaps that we found just through our conversations is while we're having these conversations, we haven't been formally documenting those. So one of our proposed plans was to now, we're developing a template that all of our IEP teams will be able to use to have those individual conversations at IEP meetings, including the parents with that input, so that can be then formalized and part of the students' special education programming. It can be included with all their documents that could go with them from school to school. One of the additional things that, and I have a meeting scheduled with Greg Burns tomorrow, is then to talk about how are we going to then formally document what is happening for students with IEPs through our school safety plans as well as our district safety plans. Now, because we have around 800 students on IEPs, to include every accommodation in a school safety plan wouldn't be appropriate, and it would also affect confidentiality of students. But what we do need is a way to document what is our system for doing this across the district and getting that consistent so that we know that a student who attends Maltby is going to have the same safety considerations as a student who attends Hidden River Middle School, the same as the student who attends Monroe High School. So we're continuing to build that out in a meeting at Hidden River last week where parents, we also were soliciting additional parent names to be included in this process. So we're really moving towards making this more systematized so that it's not just school-based decisions. So that's kind of where we're at. One of the things also that I really encourage all the families who are in attendees, if you hear of safety concerns, the only way that I can act on those concerns if I hear about them. So please do not hesitate to email me or call me, and I do follow up on those concerns. Had a parent reach out to me today regarding the safety concern for her child, and by hearing that concern, I was able to follow up with the building administration. But that's the only way that we can successfully follow through and follow up on the concerns is if we hear about them. And so one of the things I do really love about working in Monroe is while we're a mid-sized district, we're still small enough that people can reach me individually, and we're able to have those follow-through conversations. But I would like to do a further board update on where we're at later on in the year, so that because right now we're just talking, we need to then see what that looks like in a formal plan across our district. So that will be a goal to get this completely formalized during this school year.
So I just want to close out by thanking everybody for being here, for engaging with us, for giving us feedback, and for holding us accountable. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And Director Bumpus, we are done with our report.
Okay, thank you. Directors, did you have any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Kim and David. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to let me try the right one. 6.08, approval of the superintendent consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I move that the Monroe District Board of Directors approve all items listed and presented in the superintendent consent agenda dated January 10th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second, to approve all items in the superintendent consent agenda dated January 10th, 2012. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I heard Chuck. Was that an aye, Sarah? Molly?
Aye.
Awesome.
Aye.
Okay, and aye, all opposed? Okay, the agenda item passes 5-0. On to board consent agenda 7-05. 7.05, approval of the board consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve all items listed on the board consent agenda?
I move that the Monroe School District Board of Directors approve all items listed and presented on the board consent agenda dated January 10th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve using the board consent agenda dated January 10th, 2002. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, the agenda item passes 5-0. Okay, and moving on to board reports, comments, suggestions, agenda item 8.01. Reminders, Wednesday, January 12th at 5 p.m. is our Solution Tree School Board session. Monday, January 17th, there is no school and it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Congratulations I'm not going to say this. Ansler Doomchen. I'm so sorry. Okay. Ansler Doomchen, teacher at Park Place Middle School, was recognized at the VFW Snohomish County Teacher of the Year on Saturday at the Everett VFW Post. Okay. Do we have any board reports or comments? Would like
I have
to
a-
go ahead, Director Whitfield.
I have a report. I attended the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County, their legislative kickoff Zoom meeting that was hosted by Boeing. There was nothing having to do with education. They talked about the priorities of those being housing, childcare, and transportation, and the infrastructure. On January 30th, I'm going to be a part of a meeting for the WASTA, the Washington State School Directors Association, regarding their legislative requests. I also wanted to address the question that was brought up about the Rotary meeting. If there's anything in the investigation, I take full responsibility for that. Dr. Blasco has been a member of the meeting of the Rotary Board. He was invited by an individual board member as a guest. It was Kelly Blackstrom from Columbia Bank in Monroe. And I invited President Bumpus. I didn't realize how involved President Bumpus was going to be in all these meetings and all these listening sessions. So I thought she would be interested in listening to Bill present the information to the community. I also invited a city councilwoman. I also invited 2 other community individuals. I have not been in contact with Director Blasco through phone calls, texts, or anything, as much as I wanted to after he was beat up. At the board meeting, I went up and said hello. I basically asked how he was doing and how he felt. We didn't talk about any board business. It was something that, as a guest of Rotary, anybody can be invited. I don't believe it was in violation. It was, the speaker was very interesting, and it had to do with the side of the angst with the community. And anyway, I just wanted to let you guys all know that, and I had intended to speak to that matter during the board comments prior to the audience comments. That's all.
Thank you, Director Whitfield. Go ahead, Director Johnson.
Thanks. So I did prepare something to say tonight. I would like to start by thanking so many people in the Monroe community who I see rising up. I often turn to art to get through challenging times, and was recently reading the poem by Maya Angelou, "And Still I Rise." It struck a chord and led me to think about the students, families, employees, and community members coming to the Monroe School District and speaking out for positive change. Thank you for your leadership and your tenacity. While I am in awe of your resilience, I am sorry that it is a state of being that is inflicted upon you. Keep rising, and please know that I see you, I hear you, and I extend care to you and your families. I am also sorry and utterly heartbroken over the violations of trust committed last week under the guise of working with the community to develop a path forward. And I'm speaking as an individual board member. This district and this board advertised an opportunity for the community to participate in a listening tour with Bill De La Cruz. I think it is a reasonable expectation for such an offer to provide a space where people can share their feelings and experiences. There were calls to do the work of showing up and collaborating so these meetings could inform relevant interventions necessary to build trust and address the district's DEI needs. This district, this board, and a specialist brought into the district have talked about acting with integrity, engaging in authentic relationships, and acknowledging a need to disrupt oppressive and toxic systems. I was hurt and upset to receive reports that someone put on leave by this board was allowed to participate in part of that listening tour. I was disappointed to receive reports that not one board member or district employee in attendance attempted to disrupt that violation of community trust. I am discouraged that a person who was brought in to help us find a better way forward was also complicit in facilitating a meeting that could not possibly hold space for restoration and progress, but in fact furthered harm. I am sorry that the community spent time and energy engaging as the district and board asked them to do, only to be let down again. This incident further demonstrates a theme of inaction and a lack of commitment to say something if you see something, despite us all telling our kids that that's what you're supposed to do. I hope this board and leadership team can live up to the needs of this community. And in areas where we require support and learning, I hope we find mentors who can model and guide us toward doing better. It is not possible in my mind that among an entire group of professional, caring adults, no one stood up to say something was wrong. If no one is going to stand up, our stated intent will not be our impact. I continue to hold out hope that we will do better. And the last thing that I would like to say is that I want to emphasize something that is important to me. And Chuck, you and our fellow board members selected you as the WASDA legislative rep for this board. And as you noted, today is the kickoff of Washington's legislative session. I expect you're going to be busily engaged in this work for the next 60 days. And I look forward to your reports about what bills we should be tracking, when we might have opportunities to tune into the House of Representatives and state Senate committee meetings relevant to public education, which legislators you're connecting with, and how you're advocating for the students of Monroe School District to ensure they benefit as much as possible from the laws of our state. And the very last thing I'll say, because we referenced it in the workshop, is that we have all spent a lot of time here. And I want to say I really do, though I think there's been hurt and harm, I really appreciate the time and effort that people are putting in. I want to say a special thank you to President Bumpus, who I feel like has really put in some effort to connect with me, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Johnson. Did we have any other board comments? Director Campbell?
Yeah, I didn't prepare a statement tonight. I wasn't planning on reading anything, but I want to echo Director Johnson's concerns. I was not aware that Dr. Blasco was in attendance of a Rotary meeting, and that went on, and that concerns me. And there's a lot happening, and so it doesn't mean I'm not listening. It's just there's a lot going on, and this is concerning to me. That is, it looks like a double standard, but that's not something that the entire board is aware of in that process. And so I think that I want to continue to echo the investigation process, and I want to do this the right way. I want us to continue to be a board. And Jen, you said this as well. We want to be a board of distinction. Let's do that. And so we need to talk about what that looks like and the ramifications of that. So anyway, I appreciate you guys bringing that up to the board meeting and public comments. Director Johnson, thank you for saying what you said as well. I agree with that. It's concerning.
Director Barnes? Thank you, Director Campbell. Director Barnes?
Probably just kind of echoing what Jeremiah said too. I wasn't made aware until tonight, and like has been said before, we don't know what we don't know. So I appreciate the community coming and speaking up. We are listening. We are always listening. We read all of the emails. We keep our ears to the ground, and the community voices are important. So we appreciate it. We hear you. We see you. You matter. Our students matter. And we're here to do the hard work. And it may seem like we're in a really tough place now, but I really do hold out so much hope, for what can be and for what this board can do moving forward, for our school, for our students, for our staff, and just for the community. So, I'm here for it all, like Janelle says, the good and the bad, and I so appreciate that. I really appreciated her Dr. Martin Luther King speech tonight. That was great. I appreciate so much of the staff and all the hard work everybody is putting in. I know it's a difficult time. I know we're all stressed. Let's just continue to remember to give grace to one another, to keep showing up, to keep doing the hard work, but take care of yourselves as well.
Thank you, Director Barnes.
Jennifer, President Bumpus, I'd like to leave on a positive note.
I haven't spoken yet, Director Whitfield.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I've got notes. Okay, so I wanted to start with one, thank you for everyone for all the public comments. I appreciate you taking the time and just for showing up and being so honest and vulnerable and transparent. This is a newer board, and we have new people in administration right now in our district. And we are committed to still listening to our community and working together to come up with solutions. We're committed to transparency and working in partnership with our community to determine the best use of our district resources. I will continue to do what I have been doing and remain true to my character and offer up information and probably over communicate the best I can. And to be honest, and to touch base on a few pieces, we are still in the process of working through concerns regarding Superintendent Blasco that were brought to our attention. This is our second meeting, our second official regular board meeting. I do want to remind everyone of that as well. And so we are working through some of the details, some of the information. We haven't had a whole lot of time. This is our second meeting to meet, have those conversations, and be and not assume what's going on, right? Especially with everyone on the board. And so there will be a third-party investigator. This is not being handled in-house. Dr. Blasco will remain on administrative leave, and we will continue to keep the community updated with any new information. And with that, I will say we will also communicate ways to get in touch with the investigator once that process unfolds. I have, from the very beginning of the year and a half now of being on the board, have been upfront, honest. I think we're on hot mics, which means everything is recorded, everything is on record. And so there's a year and a half of me being honest and forthcoming and asking questions and fighting for people and fighting for our students and our teachers and our administrators and our building leaders. That is consistent with my character. I have integrity when it comes to these things, and that's why I chose to stay on in spite of being a business leader, working or business owner, only working 2 hours last week. And it's how I feed my family. I actually have a job. And in taking this position, I had to quit my job, what I actually do every day, in order to just oversee it and hire 3 people to replace me as a business leader. And so now as a business leader, I attend meetings or have relationships in order to continue to grow some of the really important pieces that allow us to run free events or do things for kids that normally wouldn't be an opportunity for them. But I do not get to do what I used to do. I do not get to work the way I used to work. Last week alone was 30+ hours because I'm committed to this work, because I'm committed to developing relationships, because I'm committed to not only giving, but open to receiving. And I'm hoping that this community begins to also give in order to receive so that we can continue to do what's best for kids. At the end of the day, I have no agenda aside from what's best for kids. I'm serving kids. I'm serving our communities. I'm serving our families. I do not have an agenda. I am not here for anyone else. And I understand that there are assumptions because there are a lot of hurt feelings, there are a lot of going on, a lot of history in our district, but that's not my history here. And so I want to be very clear with that as well. I'm board director, my job is to remain objective and set aside any personal agendas, any personal relationships, any personal conflicts, relationships. I'm not here to serve those. I'm here to serve our students. I'm here to serve our communities. My job is to represent our community and our students and uphold policy and procedure. If there's no policy, I cannot uphold the policy. If there's no procedure given, I cannot uphold that procedure. If we need to work on the policy and procedure in order to make sure that we are clear, that we are with our intentions, with what we intended to do, then we will revisit those, and we can do that as a board. But if there's no clarity, I'm not sure how to move forward without clarity. So if we need to be more clear about policy and procedure, then we will do that. And we will continue to communicate. We will continue to be transparent and honest in everything that we have come to be, everything I've worked to be the past year and a half of serving. There is no place, MSD, Monroe School District, is not a place for bullying or intimidation, for being pressed or pressured or manipulated into fulfilling anything outside of my director duties. I do not respond to that. I will not respond to that. I will not respond to microaggressions. I will not respond to any of those things. And I saw a lot of that heaviness this past week. That still does not distract me from remaining committed to good work. That still will not hold me back from remaining and committing to doing good work. And so with that, I will say that we have an obligation to fulfill the Monroe Commitment. The Monroe Commitment promises that we will ensure every student is provided with powerful instruction, equitable access, and is held to high standards. Promises that we will ensure every student is provided with powerful instruction, equitable access, and be held to high standards. I remain listening. I am committed to the work. And I, again, will continue to do what I have been doing. And to clarify any pieces, well, I look forward to clarifying them and receiving those emails and adding some context as well. I can't share what I can't share, but if we need to clarify any policies or procedures, we will go ahead and move forward with that. And I thank the board, I thank our group, I thank our admin. Thank you so much, Kim, for stepping in and leading and doing so with so much integrity and bravery. And I just really appreciate you. I know this is really tough, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate for sticking this out with us. I appreciate everyone on the screen who's worked so hard, so diligent, has shown up exhausted and tired. And I appreciate you so much for doing that. I appreciate all 121 of our participants right now, our teachers, our principals, our leaders. I appreciate you for showing up and being consistent and remaining committed to the good work. And with that, if there are no other comments from our board. No? Okay. Our board will now move into executive session to review the performance, of an employee. It is 8:09 p.m. We will be in executive session for 60 minutes, 1 hour, and we'll return at 9:09 p.m.